it just continues to be shocking to me because like this is after they lost this fucking election. I still see some of these cretins like crawling on fucking all fours to kiss the ass of Israel. Like, for instance, in the soccer hooliganism riot that happened in Amsterdam over the weekend, Joe Biden issued a statement condemning the anti-Semitic attacks in Amsterdam.
So like now, just like how America is permanently lost, right-wing hellhole, like you just no one good will ever win. The Netherlands as a whole, anti-Semitic country.
Yeah.
And like, thank God we found out now.
And then the
also, how do you think they feel about Muslims? Like, for Christ's sake.
The corollary there is this idea that like, because of Elon Musk and young men, America's now like irrevocably right wing or whatever. But also like when you look at Israel, just know it's all Netanyahu's fault. It's not the country or the entire government. It's Netanyahu. Like, look, there's plenty of good people there, but like. I mean, did you see the thing about how Sky News published a broadcast, a news account of the riots in Amsterdam that, described factually the, racist hooliganism that incited this, like a bunch of drunk Israeli soccer fans getting their ass kicked by Dutch Moroccans.
By the way, I got to point this out. The way you guys know the way that the New York Times framed this.
Oh, please.
Chaos, provocations, and violence, how attacks on Israeli soccer fans unfolded. This is the slug underneath. Anti-Semitic assaults on visiting Israeli soccer fans and the incendiary chants and attacks by some Israelis. And attacks by some Israelis. Just putting that into a final thing.
I saw a similar version of that, Amber, that described anti-Semitic attacks and then described the behavior of the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans as like anti-Arab slogans. So one is an one is a form of unacceptable bigotry and like systemized ideological hatred of another race. The other is just simply some anti-Arab slogans were shouted.
I'm sorry, they're soccer fans. They do that for no reason anyway.
And not only that, but Maccabi Tel Aviv lost 5-0.
Yeah, and
which is like losing a basketball game by triple digits.
They also the Maccabi Ultras had Mossad agents in tow and still fucking lost.
Really interesting way to be like that. Just like that's not what I would have led with. But okay.
And it's also funny that Israelis love to tell you how they're not European, but then their football club loses a match and they engage in racist hooliganism in the street. Seems like a pretty old tradition. It seems like pretty European culture to me.
Yeah.
I saw the Sky News, like the first Sky News report that happened before they got yelled at. And like, that was the only major news counting of it I've seen so far where first it like very prominently discussed how the first thing the Israeli Ultras did was just randomly assault a fucking Moroccan cab driver.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the response was just based on how cab drivers talk to each other. And we're like, probably that guy probably went, "Hey, these are the assholes that beat the shit out of me for no reason."
Yeah. And also, again, I don't know. All these guys get into fights over fucking someone spilling a beer on somebody that are this size anyway. It was like the Nazi punching like debates. I'm like, people get punched for fucking liking the wrong team, like for being a non-Philadelphia sports fan. Like, I don't know, like, one, how you could characterize this as the Israelis not starting it, but two, why it's a big deal if they get their asses kicked.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you went to a soccer game.
Yeah. And okay, like I did love the interview at the one Maccabi Tel Aviv who said, "The Arabs spanked my bottom and now my bottom is sore."
Habib hit my bottom and now my bottom is big.
Like, this is just like Anne Frank.
and I gotta say, my favorite was the guy that they just dumped in the canal. And he was like, they were like, "We'll leave if you say free Palestine." And he was like, "Free Palestine." And like, again, like the fact that the entire news media treated this like these assholes starting a fight, getting their fucking asses kicked by, I know thanks to you, Felix, Dutch Moroccans can fight.
Yeah, one of my favorite kickboxers of all time.
They have to. They're in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
One of my favorite kickboxers of all time, Badr Hari. Just knockout king. I wish he was there.
But no, like they lose an election and they're still having to denounce some soccer fans getting their ass kicked in fucking Holland. Like the U.S. government has to speak on this. The U.S. Really, you're
Those
still
are none of my business.
you're still kissing the ass of this fucking rotten country that like A, cost you the election.
Yeah.
B, was doing everything in their power to elect your opponent.
This is the first time the U.S. has cared about soccer,
Yeah.
like ever.
And then like to see all the comments about like, oh, like I hope they're happy when Gaza gets razed and colonized by the Israelis. And it's just sort of like they were doing that in front of everyone's face like a week ago.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing has changed here. And I'm sure like, look, to the extent that like the Trump administration will be even more like frictionless for the like ongoing, colonization of the Gaza Strip, then like fine. But like, would have been nice if Joe Biden had disagreed with the ethnic cleansing of Gaza, because originally his message was that like there will be no ceding of territory. Here, this is just a limited military operation. Well, then it's incumbent on him to speak out against it, which he certainly hasn't done.
Yeah.
And what they have done is in the waning days of this election, give Israel a 30-day deadline to start complying with international human rights. And then, well, the 30-day deadline was up several days after the election. So I'm hoping for a follow-up on that.
Sure, that'll be enforced, yeah.
But once again,
this is pass the buck, too, because they could say, we tried. He's the one fucking...
I can't, like... I do not want to. I cannot bear to hear a single bar about how fucking genocidal, racist, and evil the Trump administration will be after a year of this shit from the Democrats.
Yeah,
I just like I can't do it. Can't do it. Not gonna have it. Not gonna have it.